Hey everyone, my name is Larissa Ness, Certified Integrative Health Practitioner, and I specialize in restoring digestive health and replenishing nutrient deficiencies. And one symptom that a lot of people have when they first start working with me, they'll come to me and tell me they are having migraines and headaches. So that's one topic that I wanted to go into pretty deep today and talk about potential underlying root causes and imbalances, nutrient deficiencies, minerals, vitamins, and so much more. And then also I'm going to talk about potential supplements you can take to help get relief naturally, and also some other tips as well, lifestyle things that you can do to help get relief while you're working on addressing those underlying root cause imbalances. So this is very, very common as a cause. Low functional levels of magnesium, you probably guessed I was gonna bring up magnesium today. Low levels of magnesium relative to calcium can be a major issue. But you can't rely on blood work to know if you're deficient. Your body will actually pull magnesium from your bones and your tissues to keep blood levels stable. So you have to do more advanced functional medicine testing if you want to know how to supplement or what's happening in your body from a cellular level perspective. And I'll talk more about testing recommendations and all of that later on too. But magnesium should be the first go-to for people that can often provide some short-term relatively immediate relief for a lot of people. And if you need to dive deeper, then I definitely recommend doing the testing and seeing what's going on, doing some more deeper testing, and especially looking at that magnesium to calcium ratio. And then I will talk about supplement dosages and all that later on. But high copper is another one that can cause headaches and migraines. So high copper can also cause and lead to things like allergies and anxiety, acne, focus issues, attention issues like ADHD, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, insomnia, mood swings, even leading to depression as one factor. Obviously, there's some other factors. You can check out my other video that I've done on mental health and depression, looking at those potential underlying causes. And also copper can lead to potentially alopecia and hormone imbalances. So high copper should definitely be addressed, and this is something you can easily test with a hair sample. Copper and zinc have an inverse relationship. So if you don't have enough zinc, your copper levels can get too high, potentially causing something called copper toxicity. But before you run out and supplement with high levels of zinc, please know that you have to be careful when it comes to supplementing, because if you take too much zinc, it could potentially drive your copper too low. It's about balance. And low copper can cause hair loss, increased graying of hair, low hormone production, osteoporosis, impaired collagen formation, or anemia. That's just to name a few. So that's why it's really important to know what your ratios are before you start supplementing, if possible. We want, when I run something called a complete minerals and metals test, I'm looking for an 8-to-1 ratio. It can maybe be up to a 12-to-1 and max, 15-to-1 ratio. But how much you should supplement with and what ratio you need to supplement with is really going to depend on where you currently are and what's happening with your body. So then iron can be a factor. So low iron, this can also contribute to, well, not only the headaches and the migraines, but also can contribute to sluggish thyroid. So, and this can be causing symptoms, very similar symptoms, hair loss and weight management issues, cold hands and feet, etc. But also, if you are a lady and you get a headache or a migraine after you start after your period, it could be from low iron. So, that's why it's really helpful to journal and write down when you're getting your symptoms, and then that you can bring that to your practitioner, and then you guys can really dive in deep and put on your detective hats and figure out where the imbalance lies and maybe what's causing it. So then let's also talk about B vitamins. So low levels of B vitamins can also contribute to headaches. So B vitamins get depleted, you just FYI, during stress, just like magnesium and vitamin C. So I know you hear a lot of people say, oh, I got a headache or a migraine, it's stress related. But why is it stress related? Is it because your B vitamin stores are already running low because you live a very high stress lifestyle, or because you exercise a lot and you're not supplementing and replenishing those nutrients, or you're exercising too much and you're not allowing recovery? There could be lots of reasons. Or you have gut problems and you're not, and you're burning through your B vitamins. You already have low B vitamin stores. You're not manufacturing. You're not absorbing things through your food. There could be multiple reasons for that. But you actually are going to need more of these nutrients during times of extreme stress in your life. And it's also, if you drink more coffee depletes B vitamins and magnesium. That's a big one. Living that high stress lifestyle, bacterial imbalances, I mentioned that. So that's really, really important to make sure you're replenishing those nutrients just from living life. Another reason for headaches and migraines actually could be side effects from a medication that you're taking. So that's something to look into. Antihistamines, allergies, ADHD medication. Plus, it's important for you to know that there is something called a rebound headache or a medication overuse headache. So this can occur in people that are regularly taking pain medication or migraine medication. And then if you're taking it more than a couple days a week, you could be perpetuating, actually causing more migraines later on down the road. So this is another reason why it's really important to get to the underlying root cause longer term, so that you're not having to rely on some of these things. Let's also talk about food allergies and sensitivities. So that can be causing headaches and migraines. I actually have a lot of people in my practice will get relief once we run an IgG food sensitivity test. And I personally have had experience with this. I was getting headaches all of a sudden daily out of nowhere, and I was like, what is happening? So I ran an IgG food sensitivity test, which is just a simple little finger prick test. I use a really high quality professional grade food sensitivity lab. And it's all of these labs, by the way, are at-home lab test kits available on my website, larissaness.com, if you would like to order one. Get a whole personalized plan from me, interpretation, everything. It all comes with the cost. But so for me personally, I found out I was sensitive to eggs, and it was a low sensitivity. And I took out eggs for just a few days, and it started seeing immediately my headaches just went away. So sometimes when there's other imbalances going on, it might take a little bit longer for certain people. Just depends what their issue is. But for me, it was almost immediate. I just stopped eating eggs, and then I stopped getting headaches. But I never would have known. And I was eating eggs every day. And they were really good quality eggs, pasture raised, from pasture raised chickens, free range, all that good stuff. So you never know if a healthy food is just, maybe it's not healthy for you. That's why a personalized approach is really, really important for diet and food and supplements and, even exercise programs as well. So then let's talk about histamine. So high histamine levels can be also causing migraines and headaches. And this can be exacerbated from not producing enough of the DAO enzyme, which degrades histamine. And so if you have any gut microbiome imbalances, so bacterial imbalances, bacterial overgrowth in your intestines, or candida overgrowth, or if you have vitamin deficiencies, like you're low in vitamin B6, if you're low in vitamin C, zinc, but also if you're eating too many high histamine containing foods. And this is especially worsened if you have gut issues. So if histamine is what's causing your migraines and your headaches, you may really benefit from maybe taking a higher dose of an ascorbic acid form of vitamin C, zinc, and a few other things while you're addressing your underlying root causes. And I highly recommend going back and watching my video I did where I really dive deep on this, because this is a deeper topic. But I also have a post you can check out on my website, on my blog, larissaness.com. I also have recommendations for diet foods that you can take out that can help reduce your histamine issues while you're getting to the root cause. For example, high histamine containing foods that could be making your allergies and histamines worse would be eating things that have vinegar or kombucha, cinnamon, chocolate, aged cheese, wines, cured and smoked meats. Those are more commonly known, right, for causing migraines. And now you see why. But also, you know, if you're struggling with environmental and seasonal allergies, it's important to address any gut microbiome imbalances and heal the increased intestinal permeability, the AKA leaky gut, right? And improve your response to your environment. Otherwise, you're going to continually be allergic to everything around you, and chemical sensitivities and food sensitivities. I see all of these things when people first come to me initially and they're having gut imbalances, and then as we heal the gut, we rebalance the gut, and then heal and seal the intestinal lining, they feel so much better, and all of these other symptoms just kind of naturally just disappear. So it's pretty awesome, and it's almost a little disturbing at how powerful the gut is and how important it is that we maintain really good gut health. And it's constantly being, affected too. You know, we're on medications, or somebody's on birth control. You know, if they drink alcohol, eating processed foods, all of these things start impacting the gut negatively. So that's something to keep in mind. Stress even. Let's talk about food additives. So food additives like MSG, sodium nitrite, found in things like hot dogs, food dyes, these can all be triggers for headaches and migraines, but also artificial sweeteners. Names on labels that you might see would be aspartame, NutraSweet, Splenda, all of those. And artificial sweeteners, just like medications and antibiotics, those can negatively impact your gut, causing other issues. Let's talk about cellular and brain dehydration, because that can be a factor in migraines and headaches. So many people are just chronically dehydrated. I mean, I test so many people that on their minerals test, they are low on a lot of different minerals and electrolytes. So if you're gonna drink caffeine, you know, make it a goal to have 2 glasses of water for every cup of coffee you have. If you're drinking alcohol, have two glasses of water for every glass of alcohol that you have. Look into your potential mineral and electrolyte imbalances. Run an easy at-home hair test. Functional medicine testing can allow you to identify those imbalances in the body before they manifest symptomatically even, and before they become so severe that they show up on blood work. This is allowing us to see what's happening at a cellular level. But definitely make sure you're drinking enough water, half your body weight in ounces of water every day. That's what you need, and that's what we want to shoot for. So you might track your water intake for a week and see if you're getting enough water. See if that's a possible contributing factor. And you can make yourself a natural Gatorade, because we know the other Gatorades that you buy in the store have like food dyes and sugar and all these horrible things in it. So you can make your own natural Gatorade with just a squeeze of lemon and lime, and then adding a pinch of sea salt. Let's talk about low blood sugar and blood sugar dysregulation, because this can be contributing to headaches and migraines. So if you ever get hangry, if you've heard that phrase, hangry plus hungry. So this is a sign you need to regulate your meal timing, and you need to address some metabolic imbalances that are going on. So reducing your processed food intake is a great place to start. If you're eating, standard American diet and donuts and all that, well, we need to clean some of that up and get back to the whole foods, right? Making sure you're eating adequate, high quality protein with every meal, balanced meals with some healthy fat, not too much fat, but balanced. It's all about balance. And then run a stress, mood, and metabolism test. That would be my next recommendation, to look at your cortisol 4 times throughout the day, and your insulin and your hemoglobin A1C, because those all impact blood sugar. And mineral testing can be helpful for this too, because chromium is really, really important for blood sugar regulation. And a lot of people don't know that, but also magnesium as well. And then B vitamins are also important for that, and helping you convert your carbs into energy. So then hormones, let's talk about hormones for ladies. So changes in your hormones, but also having, low levels of progesterone relative to estrogen, that can trigger headaches and migraines. So if you're also experiencing PMS and menstrual cramps, this is a sign that your ratio is off and you need to address it. You need to really recommend doing a saliva sample so you can really get an accurate assessment of this ratio. If someone shows up with a low PG to E2 ratio on the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test that I run in my practice, I often will recommend a supplement that contains a combination of both DIM and I3C. It's really important to get the combination. And I use one that's called Estrogen Balance. But especially 5 to 7 days before you start menstruation, ladies, these hormone imbalances can also lead to a drop in serotonin. Okay, and so that can be causing mood issues, contributing to PMS, decreased pain tolerance, emotional issues, all of these things. But that's also why some people get a lot of relief from headaches because they're taking 5-HTP, which is a precursor to serotonin. But before you start supplementing with something like 5-HTP and some of these precursors to neurotransmitters, I highly recommend running a neurotransmitter test or working with a practitioner that knows all about that. You definitely don't want to take it if you're on an SSRI, an antidepressant. So just as a warning. And also low carb diets, ladies. This is really important. During your luteal phase, low carb diets can trigger a headache or a migraine because this is contributing to that lower serotonin. Potentially, and in addition to this, stress and the elevated levels of cortisol. Having a low carb diet during that phase of your cycle can also ramp up fat storage, by the way. So because your metabolism actually speeds up slightly during this phase, you can feel okay about consuming a little more of the healthy, high fiber carbs. So lowering caffeine intake is important. That's going to help to keep that cortisol and blood sugar in check, but also eating more of the healthy carbs like roasted sweet potatoes and root veggies. That can be super helpful, especially the 5 to 7 days before you start your lady time or just during the whole entire luteal phase. High levels of the stress hormone cortisol, I mentioned that, but that can be caused by many things: emotional stress, too much caffeine, gut infections, chronic inflammation. Maybe you're consuming tons of processed inflammatory foods, low carb dieting, especially important for those ladies fasting too much, skipping meals. Women are much more affected by these things. Over exercising and under eating. So that's another one, restricting, your carbs and your calories. So many women, they think they're being healthy by staying on these restrictive diets long term, longer than 4 weeks. You really need to have a diet plan, a transition diet plan in place, and making sure you're resetting your metabolism, rebalancing the body. And ideally, I really highly recommend working with an IHP on this because this is something they specialize in. Then also just be careful with fasting. That kind of just leads me to the fasting. So fasting can be an issue, especially for ladies. So you have to make sure you're in a healthy state first before you just start experimenting with longer fasts. I've had a lot of clients, and I even myself experimented with longer fasts prior to rebalancing my gut because I would get symptomatic relief when I did some of the longer fasts. But what I didn't realize is I was already really depleted in nutrients, and so that wasn't a good idea. So you want to make sure you're replenishing your nutrients first, getting your body healthier first, and then later you can start, as you get healthier and healthier and you see more and more of your symptoms go away and you're getting into a healthier version of yourself, that's when you can start pulling out some of these really nice longevity enhancing techniques. And then other factors, just a couple more here, and then we're going to talk about supplements and natural things that you can do to help with symptomatic relief from headaches and migraines. But I wanted to bring up cumulative toxin exposure, endocrine disrupting chemicals picked up from consistently consuming food and beverages, packed in plastic, especially if you're heating the plastic with food, not good. Watching out for those bath and beauty products, toxic home cleaners and air fresheners. All those things, you want to make sure you're, if you're not already familiar with the brand, you can go to ewg.org/skindeep or just ewg.org, and you can look up a lot of these ingredients and products and see if they're safe for your body. And you're going to see they do a toxic rating. It's really, really helpful. And this is all evidence-based. If you'd like to learn more about reducing that rain barrel, emptying that rain barrel, I highly recommend reading The Rain Barrel Effect by Dr. Stephen Cabral. Really great book. And make sure you're removing those things, like a lot of people have Glade plugins and candles, made from artificial fragrances, and they can instantly trigger a migraine or a headache. But one reason is because it's chemicals. It's just straight chemicals, and it's going right into your brain when you breathe it in. So Also, I just want to mention one thing is that low level heavy metal accumulation also can be a factor, especially mercury. So if you ever had silver looking fillings, they call them silver fillings or mercury amalgam fillings. They actually have mercury in them, and it's very, very toxic. And now we're finally, years later, finding out how toxic it is and how bad it is, that it's right up there next to your brain. So if you haven't had it removed, I definitely recommend talking to a biological dentist about safe removal and making sure you're doing a proper detoxification protocol while you're getting those removed. If you had them and you didn't have them properly removed, highly recommend testing your metals. Super important. And then one more thing before we get into some of these other topics that I wanted to talk about with supplements and whatnot. I want to talk about constipation because that can definitely trigger headaches. Are you consuming enough fiber? If you're constipated, try consuming more beans, fruits, nuts, seeds, veggies. Aim for 7 to 9 cups of veggies, of plants. I'll say plants because fruit's good too. 7 to 9 cups of plants per day. And if you don't tolerate a lot of plants, especially onions, garlic, apples, this is a sign you have some type of a imbalance of gut bacteria, and that needs to be addressed. You need to work with an IHP or another natural health practitioner so you can get to the root cause and rebalance the gut, and you're gonna feel so much better once you do. But you want to be going number 2 without straining about 1 to 3 times a day. And daily physical movement is so helpful. I know so many people are working from home now, but getting in that daily physical movement, really important. We now know that exercise can actually improve the microbiome and the microbial balance in your gut. So that could be one reason why it helps with getting people more mobile in the gut health department. But also food sensitivities like dairy, super common for causing constipation. Like that is a huge one right there. And making sure you're drinking enough water, that's important. And then gallbladder issues can be contributing to constipation as well. So if you're having any bile flow problems, gallbladder problems, signs that you're having gallbladder issues, I have lots of posts on this you can check out. But also I have stuff on my blog, but you can check out my Instagram, tons of posts about it. But if you're having trouble digesting fats, if you're low in vitamin D, even though you supplement, these can be signs. But having gallbladder issues, gallstones, or bile sludge, which is an actual medical term, that can cause headaches. And if you're having gallbladder pain or bile sludge issues, you want to look into liver detoxification, supporting your liver detox pathways, opening those up. So starting with a functional medicine liver detox is a great place to start. Fixing your gut imbalances, especially like SIBO, because that can contribute to it, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Ensuring that you are producing enough stomach acid so that you trigger the release of bile and the contraction of your gallbladder. That's really important. So if you're on an antacid medication, that could be contributing to bile flow issues, and that could be contributing to gut health issues, causing an imbalance of gut bacteria in your gut. Removing personal food sensitivity is going to help. Addressing low thyroid and estrogen dominance. Those are just a few places to start. But yeah, and I also want to talk about if you had your gallbladder removed, you want to make sure you're supplementing with some type of a bile salt supplement, and a digestive enzyme with lipase can really be helpful. But you want to work with your practitioner on what's right specifically for you. And then, I just want to quick mention eye strain. It seems obvious, but staring at your screens all day, it can be really helpful at night, especially to use blue light blocking glasses. That can also help you sleep better. And then also addressing any type of biomechanical alignment issues with a chiropractor can be really helpful. But if you notice the headaches keep coming back, that means you haven't addressed the underlying root cause. So at that point, it's more of symptom management. But a lot of people do get some great short-term relief from chiropractic work. So I definitely highly recommend that. And then, so the testing I'd recommend: complete minerals and metals test, complete stress, mood, and metabolism test, food sensitivity testing, an omega-3 and inflammation test, looking at something like a Candida metabolic and vitamins test, which also looks at gut health and B vitamins and things like your detoxification markers, glutathione, vitamin C. All of these are going to help you to identify metabolic imbalances before they become so severe that they would show up on your blood work. So that's the beauty of this type of testing, and you can do all this testing from your home. If you're interested, you can go to my website, larissaness.com. and all of the test purchases, they come with a complete plan with me, or from me, with specific diet, lifestyle, and supplement recommendations based exactly off of your results and your symptoms and your current needs. But I wanted to get into supplements. So now here we are. We're going to talk about supplements, natural ways to get some relief, symptom relief. And so for my clients that maybe aren't able to test for financial reasons, I'll often recommend and make sure they're doing some type of a foundational program that includes like a multivitamin and omega-3 support. Omega-3s are super important for reducing inflammation and making sure you have an optimized omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. So I might recommend 2 to 3 capsules a day, depending on who they are and what's happening. And then also I might, if they're definitely dealing with headaches and migraines, putting them on magnesium. So many studies show that 600 milligrams of magnesium taken daily can be safe and effective. And we definitely see this in practice. Most people begin seeing results within, a few weeks or less. It's usually more immediate with magnesium. So a lot of times I'll recommend taking a full spectrum magnesium, 1 capsule at lunch, 2 capsules with dinner. It just kind of depends where you're at on how long you've been sick, all of these things, how quickly people get results with some of the more natural things. But you want to give it at least, 8 to 12 weeks of doing some of these things first that are more kind of like longer term. But if I get a headache out of nowhere, I immediately go reach and take at least 600 to 700 milligrams of a full spectrum magnesium or magnesium glycinate. So if you don't have maybe a full spectrum magnesium, you can do 600 up to 1200 milligrams a day of a magnesium glycinate just by itself. That can be really helpful. And yeah, sometimes just increasing the magnesium alone helps, knock it out. But then also you can take some turmeric. This is also very effective and for more short-term relief as well. So taking about 1 to 2 grams of curcumin, which comes from turmeric, has been shown to help reduce the pain temporarily. And I prefer to use a highly absorbable form. And then you can always go to my website. I have a lot of blogs, so you can just search headaches in there and things will pop up for recommendations. But ginger can be also helpful. You can take 250 milligrams of ginger powder, up to 2 grams a day. In one study, 100 migraine sufferers, people took ginger powder, 250 milligrams, and then there was also people that took sumatriptan and a common drug used to stop migraines, and both groups had decreased severity of attacks within 2 hours, and with equal satisfaction of pain relief in both groups, but just with more side effects on the group that took the pharmaceutical drug. So I think that's a pretty powerful study right there. You can also try Feverfew, 25 milligrams a day can be helpful. Don't use it if you are on a blood thinner though. CoQ10, taking about 50 to 200 milligrams a day in the ubiquinol, more absorbable form. I mentioned 5-HTP earlier, so some people longer term, if they're taking 200 milligrams a day, can really get some benefit from that. Melatonin, a non-drowsy liquid melatonin, can be very beneficial. Taking, around 3 milligrams at night before bed. This obviously is going to help with sleep, which helps with so many other things. Hormone production and balancing, gut repair, detoxification, and many other factors that can be contributing or causing headaches and migraines. And then vitamin B2 has some great research on it too. 400 milligrams a day has been shown to be super helpful, but I always recommend starting with the B complex because the B vitamins work synergistically, and just taking high doses of one or a couple B vitamins can be driving down other B vitamins. So you want to make sure you have a nice base layer first before you start doing higher levels of these other Bs. There's so many people out there that are trying to supplement with these high doses of B vitamins, and then they're wondering why they're having reactions and not feeling good. So it's definitely a science, orthomolecular medicine. So it's, definitely just multivitamin first as a base layer, B complex, and then I would work with your practitioner if you're going to be doing higher doses than that. And then also calcium supplementation can be helpful for people that are low in calcium, but you won't know unless you run a hair tissue mineral analysis test. And I just want to say this, you never want to supplement with calcium by itself. This is very important because you could potentially be causing more harm than good. You should always take calcium with adequate magnesium, always. Magnesium is essential for the proper calcium absorption, and if you lack adequate magnesium, your body actually will pull calcium from your bones and tissues into your bloodstream. So, and then it's totally counterintuitive for those that were trying to take calcium for bone health, right? So yeah, if you're low in calcium on a minerals and metals test, then I would recommend taking something like a CalMag Complete Combo Supplement, which can be very helpful for reducing headaches in those that need it. Also stress, PMS, cramping, I see people get relief from that, and also mood issues, and also reducing food cravings as well. So then just a couple other tips here at the end, and then we'll wrap it up. Quick tip, if you already have a headache, you can also try lavender and peppermint essential oils. One study found that when applying a drop of peppermint oil to the temples, it helped relieve migraine pain within 30 minutes. This is a study. So you can massage 1 to 2 drops of peppermint or lavender essential oils into your temples and see if that helps. Another study showed that just by breathing lavender essential oil for about 15 minutes helped provide some pain relief. So that's pretty awesome. So you can try also spraying some lavender in the room if you have like a spritzer bottle. Other tips you've probably heard, but reducing sensory input, going into a dark room. You can put a hand on your belly and do some deep breathing exercises, focus on your breathing, get into like a meditative state. Laying down and putting a cold pack on your eyes and on your head, and putting a hot pack on your feet simultaneously. This can help draw away the heat from your head. And then one more trick would be at the onset of a migraine, put one hand in a bucket or bowl of ice water, super cold. Hold your hand there until you just can't stand it, and then switch to the other hand. Put the other hand in that ice bucket, ice bowl. And then you can spray and spritz some cold water on your face in between. And then you can do this and keep the switching thing going on until the migraine breaks. A lot of people find some great relief in that. So in summary, my goal is to encourage you to be your own health detective. You always want to keep asking why. Why is this happening? Because there's a reason. Headaches and migraines are a symptom, are a sign that there's an imbalance that needs to be addressed in the body. If you are interested in doing any of the more advanced functional medicine lab tests, you can order a kit online through my website. And all the purchases include personalized recommendations from me, in addition to a consultation, a Zoom consultation where we go over and I explain all of your results to you. So if you're interested in that, go to my website, larissaness.com.